What's good? It's your boy Dre, also known as Mr. Po Folk Everything. And today, I'm back with another one. So today's video is gonna be an update. More of a recap from when I installed the Intellitronix digital dash in the Monte Carlo. And the reason being is because I've had a lot of people comment on the video asking what wire did I put to this, how did I hook this up, and instead of replying and responding to each individual comment, I'ma just make a video. So here it is. Here are the instructions that come with your digital dash. And as you can see, it's for Monte Carlo and the El Camino. There's the part number and the years that this will fit, 78 through 88. So this is what the dash is gonna look like. And this is what's gonna come in the kit. When you open up your box, you're gonna end up with a circuit board, a smoke lens, a temperature sending unit, a pressure sending unit, as well as a speedometer sensor and the mounting hardware. So your Phillips screws, your bolts, your nuts and washers, and also the spacers. So if you look, this is what you're gonna end up with. You're gonna end up with 6 gauges. You're gonna have your fuel, your volts, your temperature, your oil pressure, your RPM, and of course, your speedometer. So if you look right here, the first thing you see, it says notes. LS engines or any other computer-based engine system must use the provided sensors. So that's telling you right off the bat that if you have an LS or any other computer-based system, that you have to use the provided sensors that come in the kit. It also says that when doing the LS swap, you're gonna pick up the TAC symbol from the ECU and you're gonna set your unit to 4 cylinders. So as you can see, I got numbers on mine because I did it in a specific order. So don't pay any attention to the numbers because they don't mean anything to you at this point. But on the back of your dash, you will see a heavier gauge black wire and a heavier gauge red wire. That's gonna be your power and your ground for the actual unit. But as you can see, it says the black wire is the ground. And you should run this to the back of the engine block for the best ground. I did not. I found a boat up under the dash and I ran it to that boat and I used it as my ground and it worked. You can also run it directly to the battery. There's different ways to skin a cat. I just ran mine to a boat up under the dash. The red wire, which was the power wire, I ran mine directly to the battery. And within doing so, when you hook up those 2 wires, your volt gauge will now be on. So if you was to turn your ignition to the on position, you will see the dash light up and it'll tell you how many volts you have at your battery. So then that's gonna leave you with 5 other gauges to hook up. So the next page, it says your water for your water temperature. Now it come with a sensor and it come with the wire. The wires that go to the sensor is blue and then black and blue. On the back of the dash, there's going to be a blue wire and a black and blue wire. So all you have to do is wire the 2 blues together and the 2 black and blues together. Now you have to do that because one is a ground and one is a signal wire. So the ground is going to be your black and blue and the blue is going to be your signal wire. So on the back of the dash, you'll see a blue and black. The wire that goes to the actual gauge is going to be the same colors. So you're just going to take that blue and attach it to the blue and black, and attach it to the same one corresponding with the back of the gauge. So with that being said, side note, if you have a LS, you know that the temperature sensor is in the front of the driver's side head. But you do also have a provision to install a temperature sensor on the back of the passenger head. With that being said, I data log and I use my laptop for different things, to tune an engine and whatnot. So I thought it would be good just to go ahead and keep the factory sensor in the driver's side head, and I would install the Intellitronix sensor in the back of the passenger side head. But in doing so, if you remember in the video, I hooked it up and the sensor did not work. It was reading like 275 degrees at all times and would never change. So I did a little research and I found a forum where guys had installed the Intellitronix dash on different vehicles. And one of them had said that they had contacted Intellitronix, and Intellitronix told them that it was a faulty sensor, that they would be sending them out a sensor. But just because they was going to try to change out that sensor and take it from the passenger side and put it on the driver's side. And then a lot of guys say, yeah, you know, I run in mine on the driver's side in the front. So he switched his, and then he made another post saying that it worked. So I thought, well, it can't hurt anything. It's not working now. So I switched mine and put mine in the front of the driver's side head, and it started working. So that's just a side note. I don't know why it doesn't like to be in the back of the passenger side head and doesn't work, but it works on the driver's side and the front of the head. I couldn't tell you that. All I know is when I switched mine, it started working. So at this point, you should have two gauges that are hooked up. You should have your temperature sensor as well as the volts gauge hooked up. So now we're going to move on and we're going to go to your oil pressure sending unit. So in the kit, they gave you a sending unit. And on the sending unit, it has two terminals. It has an S and it has a G. So one's going to be a signal, one's going to be a ground. But if you're looking at these instructions, on this instruction, it just says an orange wire. So on the back of your dash, there's going to be an orange wire. But there's also going to be a black wire with orange tracer. But on this, it doesn't say anything about it. But they did send you another one that tells you about it. And right here, it tells you that the ground wire is going to be the black with the orange wire. So you got to pay attention to that. And as you can see, you got two terminals. One's going to be a S, one's going to be a G. Because when I hooked mine up, I hooked the orange wire up to the S and it did not work. Then I put the G terminal for ground. I put that and I attached it to the back of the block, and that didn't work. So when I got to looking, I seen that on the back of the dash, it was a black wire with an orange tracer. So I just went from that G terminal on the actual sending unit and ran a wire all the way back to the dash and attached that to the orange wire, the black wire with the orange tracer, and then that worked. So that's how you're gonna have to do that. Make sure you're using the right size gauge too, guys. That is very important. So going right down in the order that's on this paper, next you got the dimmer light. So you're gonna have to go to your light switch, and at your light switch, you're gonna have to figure out which wire is for the dimmer. Now, I have a Haynes manual for my vehicle, so I looked in the manual and it told me what color wire was for my dimmer. So all I did was tapped into that and connected it to the purple wire that's on the back of the dash. And you're gonna do the same thing for both of your turn signals, your right turn signal and your left turn signal. At that point, the gray with the white stripe is gonna be for your right turn signal, and the gray with the black stripe is gonna be for your left turn signal. So you're gonna have to figure out which wire that's going to your turn signals is what, and then just tap them in to those color wires right there, and those should work also. Now, we're going to go down to the fuel gauge. Now, with that being said, depending on if you got an LS swap or you just have your regular fuel tank. So that's going to determine whether you're going to have 2 wires coming off of it or 3 wires coming off of it. For the LS swap, usually it's 3 wires because you have a power, a ground, and a signal wire. But if you're not running an intake pump and you're just running your basic fuel pump, usually you only have 2 wires, and that's a ground and a signal that will run up to the dash to tell you how much fuel you have in your tank that goes to that sending unit. So with that being said, on here, all you're gonna need is 2 wires. You got a yellow and black with a yellow tracer. The black with the yellow tracer is just a ground. So all I did was, on the back of the digital dash, there will be a black and a yellow wire. So I took a wire and I attached it to that, and then attached that to a bolt under the dash. The yellow wire is for the actual sender to be able to show how much fuel you have on the gauge. So that signal wire that comes off of your actual sending unit, you're going to attach that yellow wire to that. But make sure that you actually attach this black with the yellow tracer wire. You have to hook that up. All right, so moving on to the speedometer. So starting off, on the back of your dash, you're going to have a white wire, a red and white wire, and a black wire. All of those, as you can see right there, all of those go for the speedometer. Now, if you're using an LS, you're only going to use 1 wire. And you're going to use just the white wire, which is going to be the speed signal. Now, on your harness, you should already have a wire right there. And if you do, all you do is attach that wire from your harness for the speedometer to the white wire on the back of the gauge. And that's it. But if you don't have a wire, then what you're going to have to do is go to pin 50 on the red connector. And you're going to attach that white wire coming from the back of the dash to pin 50 on the red connector. That's it. Now, if you have a 2-wire sender, so as it says right there, most vehicles built after 1984 have an electronic transmission sender. If your vehicle is already equipped with electronic transmission, then the electronic vehicle sender will usually have 2 wires attached to it. One connects to the signal wire and one goes to a engine block for a ground. So basically, if you got 2 wires coming out of your transmission sender, the white wire is going to be the signal. That's going to go to 1 wire on your transmission, and the other wire is just a ground. But so if you're using a 700R4, 204R, TH350, or even a TH400, or any other transmission that used a mechanical speedometer cable that threaded into the tail housing of your transmission, you're going to use the provided sensor that came in the kit, which looks a little something like this. So at that point, you're just going to unscrew that cable. You're going to screw this one in. And then you're also going to use the provided harness that came in the kit. So once you hook it up to your transmission, it's going to look a little something like that. And as you can see, you're going to have a white, a red, and a black. Now, like I said, on the back of the dash, you're going to have a white, a red and white, and a black and white. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this white wire. Take this white wire, you're going to extend it, and you're going to run it up to the white wire that's on the back of your dash. Then you're going to take this red wire, and you're going to extend it, and you're going to run it up to the red and white wire that's on the back of your dash. And then you're going to take this black wire and you're going to extend it, and you're going to run it up to the black and white wire that's on the back of your dash. So at this point, you only got one wire left. It's a green wire on the back of your dash for your tachometer. If you're running a LS swap from your harness, you'll have a wire that is for your tach. You're just going to run that wire to the green wire on the back of your dash, and then you can button everything back up, because that was your final step. If you're running a, Gen 1, so a 305, 327, 350, 355, 383, small block 400, whatever you're running, and it has a HEI ignition, somewhere on there, it's going to say tach. And you're just going to run a wire from that terminal that's marked tach to the green wire on the back of the dash. Now you're done. You can just go ahead and button everything back up, because that was the last step. I hope this video helped a lot of y'all out and answered a lot of your questions. And if you're not a subscriber, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also, hit that notification bell so that you're notified anytime we make a new video. And remember, there's a lot of ways to get things done, but over here, we do it the po folk way.